Hello everyone and welcome back to another class of Bandit's Body. I'm here at home working out. This is going to be another full body workout session based around some of the concepts of mat Pilates again. All right, so I've got my leg straps on and today I'm going to work with my red resistance and I'll use green for my upper arms, so that's just nearby and ready to go. So let's lie down on the mat. And we're going to just take a moment here to check in. So just have a sense of where your pelvis is. Maybe place your hands on the pelvis here. And we're just going to have a little tuck and tilt forwards and backwards. So just feeling the bones of the pelvis tilting back through center and then forwards again. As we tilt back, the back will connect in with the floor. As we tilt forwards, we have a natural lift within the back here. And then find a settled position. Just taking a moment to feel heaviness through the rib cage and then maybe a little tuck and tilt of the head and neck. And finishing with a very slight drop of the chin. So remember, if you feel like you're like this, you might want to put something under your head or maybe just roll the end of your mat down to support your head so that you can find neutral here. And we're just going to take some nice big belly breaths. So breathing in through the nose, feel the belly rise and the ribs expand. And then as we exhale, nice and slow, maybe making your exhale a little longer. And then right at the end of the exhale, pushing all the air out. And we can just feel a sense of tightening in our deepest layer of abdominals. So we inhale again. And then a slower exhale. And again, right at the end, full exhalation of air and feeling a little bit of centering in our deep tummy. One more like this. And then we're just going to do some spinal mobility. So hands resting by your side, tilt the pelvis back. And we're just going to curl up gently through each one of our back joints and curling back down again. So we want to connect with each one of our bony vertebrae. So picture yourself counting as they lift up off the floor. Coming back down, hitting a centered pelvis. Nice and heavy, tilting back. And coming back down. And then we're going to just look at a very gentle rotation. So maybe popping the feet together a little bit. Arms out wide. Start with the knees. The knees bring the hips. Hips bring the pelvis. Pressing the shoulders down onto the floor. Take a time here or spot to just inhale. Opening along this line. Exhale, bring the ribs back, the low back, the pelvis, the knees. And on the other side, knees move. Brings the hips, brings the pelvis, rotating through the spine. Taking a moment here to inhale and find length through the system. And then very gently back again. Let's do one more per side, seeing if we can get a little bit more rotation through the body. Lengthening knees to shoulder. Coming back again. And over again. Really feeling like I'm wringing myself in half, twisting like a cloth. And back. Okay, so I'm just going to clip on my upper limb straps to the front clips here. So just popping them on just above where my lower ones are clipping in, and then having them to the side. We're going to start with a single knee fallout. So maybe just holding your pelvis initially and feet about the width of the hips. We're going to exhale and let the knee move out to the side. Inhale, control the return. Exhale, knee moves out. Inhale, control the return. So as we go through this, you'll feel that your foot rolls over onto the outer border. That's fine. We want to check in that our pelvis remains completely still so that you have this solid platform and the legs are just moving from that platform. And because we're working against the resistance of the bands here, we want to control the return. That's the important part. It's your eccentric muscle action. So we're not letting the leg ping back in again. Getting some really nice control on the outside of the hips. Okay, now let's grab our band. We are going to work in opposition. So I'm going to get you to take the right knee out, and the left arm will come up and out in a wide V and come back in again. Up and out. Now, we've got the band attached to the non-moving leg. So we really need to make sure here that that leg remains nice and stable. So really ground in through the weight-bearing foot. Maybe we can imagine growing some roots out of that foot and connecting in with the mat. Up and out in a V, coming back center. So come up to the ceiling, out in a V, and then coming back. Good. We're going to cross the bands over. Gives us a different feeling here. Again, right arm, left leg. So this is a stronger pull. It'll mean your hip has to work harder and the back of the shoulder has to work harder as well. So exhale, open, inhale, return. Exhale, open, inhale, return. Exhale, open, inhale, return, and repeat. Good. One more per side. And then we are going to pop on to our next exercise, which is knee folds level 2. So we can just pop the band to the side. The knees are going to go up, up, down, down. So place your hands on your pelvis, maybe a thumb on the low rib cage. Exhale, float up. Inhale, pause. Exhale, deepen your tummy connection, float the other leg up. Then we're going to lower, and then we lower. So tummy relaxed, fold into the hip crease, pause, exhale, connect and float, lower down, lower down. Now what you want to watch for here is when that second leg comes up, we don't see, boom, the pelvis moving, the head and shoulders jiggling, or your tummy rising. So when I'm teaching my classes here, I refer to this as like a little Hovis loaf rising in the oven. So we want to avoid seeing any of the bread rising. Alternating our legs, fold, fold. Think about deepening into your hip crease here. Connect, fold, down. And then we're going to stay up here. And this is called our tabletop position, looking like a little table. We're going to keep the toes connecting together and rotate the thighs out. So the thighs rotate, come back in. So it's a little bit like a butterfly leg. Opening, return. So keeping the connection of the toes gives us a solid loop here, or closed loop of work. And we want to focus on the hips rotating in the sockets. So it rotates out, comes back in. Now don't forget, guys, if you feel like the red is too much, just quickly change your resistance and pop the yellow one. Alternatively, if you're feeling pretty tank, you could put on a green strap or even a blue if you're feeling very tank. Good. So we're working at the back of the hips here. Externally rotating, coming in, rotate out, coming in, rotate out. Good. And then coming into a small rest. If you want to repeat that set, you can. But we're going to come into some toe taps now. So with the toe tap, the toe is going to tap down close to the bottom and come back up again. Now, we want to work into the stabilizing knee also. So when my foot taps away, I'm going to think of drawing this in towards me just a little bit. So I'm folding deeply into the hip crease again, working deep hip flexion, and the other leg is pushing against the band, so I'm working my glutes. So hands on the pelvis, exhale, inhale, return, exhale, inhale, return. So I have this real sense of pushing against the band, coming back in. Both ways, one flexes, one extends, coming back in. One flexes, one extends, coming back in. Watch again for your little loaf of bread. Make sure we don't have a Hovis loaf rising there. And we've got a nice natural curve under the low back. Head and shoulders relaxed and broad. Good. And then let's bring the knees in for a rest. So we are going to take now an overhead motion at the same time. So the arms are going to come in parallel. We're going to start off with an opposite arm to the tapping leg. So I'm going to tap my right, the left arm comes up and over and come back. Other side, left, right. So there's not a huge amount of resistance here on the band because it's a short distance. Remember as well, you can be working with your red band, or if you want more resistance, you can work on your blue. If you feel you're not getting enough, you can just hold a little bit further down on the band as well, and that'll give you a bit more resistance. Good. 2 more. And again. And small rest. So maybe just rolling around in the hips a bit. And then we're going to come same arm and leg. So right, overhead. So this you can feel now, we have a little bit more resistance. Toe tapping, return. Feel the shoulder blades connect with the back of the rib cage. So we want to feel that the shoulder blade almost magnetizes towards the opposite hip. Keeping your thighs working in parallel. So we've always got a slight push out against the band, up and over. Big gap between shoulders and ears. Exhale, lengthen, return. Good. Small break. And then crossing our bands into the opposite hands. So we're going to come right leg, left arm, opposition again. Away we go. Push. And this, you should feel, gives you a little bit of a diagonal resistance pattern. So we really have to control where we're going within both the arms and the pelvis to watch that this doesn't pull the leg in. So the legs are remaining nice and straight, running along their train tracks. And the arms coming up and over on a very slight diagonal pattern. Let's do 2 more. Got no idea how many I've done, by the way. Come in and rest. Okay, so we're going to come now into a hip twist. So similar to our warm-up twist, but this time we're going to have our legs up in the tabletop position. For now, we're going to just rest our elbows down, or if you want to initially, you can have your hands here on the floor. So this time we're going to drive from the pelvis. So the pelvis lifts up and it slowly brings the spine with it. And then we pause and then we stick the body back down again. Pelvis lifts, the knees come with it, pause, and then come back. Now the trick here is to really press down. So I anchor with my right shoulder as I twist to the left, coming back again. Anchor with my left shoulder as I twist to the right and coming back to center. Anchor with the right, twisting to the left, little pause here, big breath, and coming back, and then onto the opposite side. And back. Now, you might want to stay with that version, or you can come with me. We're going to take the arm out in an opposite diagonal pattern. So starting with the elbows here for extra support, we rotate to the right with the hips and the knees, and the arm reaches in a diagonal to the left. Come back in through center. Knees to the left, arm to the right. Coming back in through center. Remember the bands are crossed here. Knees right, arm reaches left. Coming back in. Other side, knees over, reach. Now really push into this band. Create as much length as you can between the knees and the moving arm. And we've still got our elbow here to support. Off we go again, nice long twist. Coming back in. Nice long twist. Coming back in. Little break. So this third variation will be the most unstable. So if you want to do this, you can, or stay with the elbows down again. So this time the arms are going to come from here. So they're literally resting over the shoulders. So we rotate knees to the right, arm goes left, find a little balance point here, coming back in. Exhale, rolling over. Inhale, pause and push into the band. Exhale, coming back. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, pause. Exhale, coming back. Inhale, rotate. Pushing over. We've got a very small balance point here. And coming back in. Once more. Over we go. Exhale on the movement. Coming over. Reach knees away from that hand. Coming back in. Whew. And release into your hips and pelvis. I'm going to pop the feet down. I'm going to bring our awareness now to the back of the body, coming into some straight spine bridging. So we're going to start off pushing up into a bridge and then adding some arms in. The arms are going to come parallel, slightly out on the diagonal, and then a little bit wider into a nice wide V. So let's drive our feet down into the floor, lift the hips up. Find an alignment where you are in a straight line. So don't push up too high. We want to think knees, hips, shoulders, and relax the ribs down. From here, really squeeze your butt cheeks. And then we have arms overhead, coming back in. Out, wider, coming back in. And then nice wide V, coming back in, lower. Heel to glute connection, come up. Arms overhead, coming in. V, coming in. Wide, coming in. Lower down. Heel to glute, push. Relax the ribs down again. Overhead. In, up and out. Coming in, nice and wide, coming in, lower, repeat. And we should really feel our glutes working now as we sustain this hold with our hips elevated. So just make sure that is where you're feeling it and it's not tracking up into your neck. Again, visual of a big gap between our shoulders and our ears. And coming down. Brilliant. Okay, I'm going to just pop the bands to the side now. And we're going to look at a single leg bridge. So this is more tricky. So do watch with your form here. We want to again see the pelvis remaining stable and level. So arms by your sides. Press the arms down on the floor, lifting up. We're going to slowly transfer the weight to the right side. Press both arms down. And then fold into the knee, little fold here. Relax the ribs, fold into the hip joint. And then come down, transfer to the left, press the right shoulder and arm down, fold into the hip. Take a moment, check your form. Make sure you're not excessively gripping at the front, and then come down. Now let's just repeat that, right and left. So heel, bum, lift. Maybe just drop down a little bit so you're not forcing up too high. Press the arms, right foot, left knee floats. Coming down, press into the left, right knee floats. Coming in, lower down again. Lifting up. Press into the floor. So we've got both of our hands pushing nice and firmly. What we want to feel here with this exercise is these diagonal patterns of strength across the back of the body. So as we push up, we have right foot and more weight on the left shoulder and arm. Left foot, more weight on the right shoulder and arm. And it's these diagonal muscle patterns that cross over the pelvis and give us some stability here. So just check in again that your ribs are nice and relaxed. Good. Now, you can rest here or repeat, or you can come into some knee repeaters with me. So we're going to come up, transfer the weight, right foot, left arm, And we're going to go repeat, touch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Come down, let everything relax. Drive back up again. Transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Calming down. Everything relaxes. Coming back up, repeat. Right foot to left shoulder, knee repeater. 3, 4, slow your breathing down. Big wide foot on the floor, so feel your tripod. Coming down, repeating, coming up. Transfer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Whew. Well done, guys. Okay, we're going to change position and come into side planking. Okay, now we're going to come here into a modified side plank, which means it's a little bit smaller. So we're going to go through the setup here and then come into a hold. That'll be our first challenge. So have your knees in alignment with the front of the mat. Have your hand also in alignment with the front of the mat. Feels a little weird as a setup, but you'll understand why soon. Make sure we're pushing out of this shoulder. So really strong, connected in, and then we're going to lift out of the underneath waist, forming this side plank position. So finger pads pressing, wrist, elbow, shoulder, stacked up and down, rib cage rotated around, working in the underneath hip that is also rotated around, feeling like we're splatted up against the shop window, cake shop window. So we're holding here, breathing into our upper rib cage, breathing into the upper waist. And then coming down. If you have wrist problems, don't forget you can roll the mat up like this, rest the heel of your hand there. Or alternatively, if you want to, you can rest on your elbow. You get far better shoulder recruitment if you can stay on your hands because of the connection from the fingers to the shoulder. So you can repeat this side plank if you want to, or come with me. We've got the top band here. We're going to push to the ceiling. 2, 3. So I'm driving upwards. This hand is actually just in front of me a little bit in my peripheral vision. So I'm not back here somewhere, just slightly in front. That's why we're working on the front leg clip. Good. Then we're going to come down, once through, 10 repetitions again. If you want to work a little harder, you can always use the strap underneath. Just has a little bit more distance to go. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Beautiful. Swapping our awareness now to the hips, we're going to do a little lift and lower. Again, we're going to be in our plank position. So let's drive up, hold the pelvis, small movement, up, 2, 3. So we've got solid work underneath hip, top hip, pumping away here. Just check that you're still pushing out of your shoulder. Nice slow breathing into the upper rib cage and coming down to rest. Give your arm a chance to refuel. So you want the blood to come in and out again, water to come in and out again. And then you can repeat that side hip lift, or you can come in with me. We're going to do a little side dip with the pelvis and combine it with an overhead press. So we're coming up on the cake shop window. We drop the hips a little bit, we push the hips and combine it with an overhead press. So really think of moving in a pure side direction here, as opposed to coming down like that on a twist. Again, beautiful big gap between the shoulder blades and the head, so we're not hiking up. Excellent. Oh, last one. Off we go. Whew. Superb work on that side, and we're going to swap onto the other. So spinning around. Let's get ourselves set up. Knees at the front of the mat, hands at the front of the mat. Get our bands ready. Maybe a little drop. Connect with the shoulder. Pushing up. Body facing forwards. Pelvis rotates. Ribs rotate. Shoulder rotates back and down. And we're just going to hold here. Breathing into the upper rib cage. Nice and slow with the breath. Pressing finger pads down into the floor, and that'll help connect into the rotator cuff muscles of the shoulder. Good. Coming down. And we're going to do our 2 sets of 10 reps of overhead press, starting with the upper band. Coming up and pushing up. 1. Elbow comes in, straight line up to the ceiling. 3. Watch your head and neck. Remain in line with the body. It's not falling off. 7, 8, 9, 10. Holding it there. Coming down. So you can repeat with the top band, or a little bit more of a challenge, we'll come with the underneath band. Coming up again. Push. 2. Definitely harder. 3, 4. Exhale as you push. 5. Keep driving the floor away. Nice big wide hand. Oh, last one, guys. Well done. 10. Coming back down. So we need to pop in our little leg lifts. Coming up, holding onto the pelvis, floating up. 10, 9, 8, 7. Keep the pelvis still, head in alignment. We're just working into this uppermost hip. Good. Lovely, last squeeze and coming down. And then we're going to come into the hip lift and drop. Top band is going to come in a big overhead press. Coming up into your plank again. Drop the hips a little way, push up overhead. Little drop, push up overhead. So we're actually coming into a side bend on one side and a big side bend on the other side. Working your underneath waist, elongating, really push into the band, get as much overhead motion as you can. I have no idea, that feels about 10. Okay, well done. Giving your arms a little rest, and we're going to then move into standing. Okay, now we are up in standing, and we're going to have a lunge and overhead press. We're going to be bringing in some variations with the press. So the first one is going to go front diagonal, forwards, opposite front diagonal, and then we're going to reach behind us. When you do reach behind, you want your whole body to rotate, feet, legs, pelvis, and rib cage. Don't block the pelvis and crank your rib cage around. So again, at the moment, I'm still on my leg straps. You are very welcome to attach this onto the ankle straps if you want to use them. So, squat pattern. Going to drive up, right arm across the body, left arm across the body. So we've got our front diagonal pattern here. Nice low squat, push and rotate. Good. Now we're going to come forwards after this next one. So squatting, driving high in front of you. Each time you squat, remember, little push out on the leg bands. Good, then we're going to come on a wide. So I'm coming slightly out on the diagonal here. Good, and then we're going to come backwards. So again, little push out on the bands. Nice big rotational overhead press. We're going to take a slightly wider foot position now. We're going to have squat, single squat, double pump. Again, connect with the bands. We're going to fold into the hips, squatting back, single, single, double, shoulders, double, squat, single, single, double, up. Exhale as you push. And this is a really high punch with those singles. So get the shoulder blade reaching up really high in the body. With the doubles, we literally have to muscle that second one up. There is no momentum coming from the squat. Last one, double. Oh, well done. Okay. We're now going to look at our lunge pattern and we're going to have a push. So, like I said, if you want a little bit more welly coming from your band, you can just put your ankle strap on and then attach the band onto that. So I'll show both versions, although this is going to feel really weird in my body, and don't do this in your class. So we're going to come, I'll come this way first actually. We're going to come with a rear lunge. Your thought process here is I'm going to kneel, but you're going to stay hovering. You're then going to push forwards and it brings about a twist in the body and then come back. Lunge, this is with my ankle, so it's harder. Rear lunge, push, come up, rear lunge, push, coming up, rear lunge, coming up, good. And with your push in front of you, you can have a sense of almost like a boxing punch where we come forwards and roll at the end. Keep pushing out against the leg bands to avoid that kind of action in the legs. Keep your shins stacked over the feet. Back, push, come up, back, push, come up. Good, and keep challenging your lunge nice and low and keep most of the weight towards the front leg. So we're here, not here. Let's do two more. And again. Whew. Well done, guys. Now I'm just going to move this back again so that I can be a bit more symmetrical. And you can also play around with where they are. So if you want to, let's pop our straps on the rear clips now, because we're going to come into a curtsy, side lunge and overhead press. And with this being behind, it's going to give us a nicer feel as we push. So I'm going to curtsy. Yes, ma'am. Being British, I'm very good at this. And then we take a step to the side, bent leg, straight leg. So let's just practice that. Curtsy, stepping out. Curtsy. Then, with this lunge, we're going to drive to the ceiling. Little bit like we did with our side plank. Exhale, push. Down we go. Exhale, push. Down we go. Pushing up. It's my little man, Nugget. The golden nugget. I'm going to do some exercise, Nuggy. Good. Beautiful. Last one. And then let's come on the other side. Deep curtsy. Again, shin stacked, bottom sticking out. Coming over, push to the ceiling. Curtsy, ceiling. Curtsy, ceiling. Good. Let's just do 10 of these. And up. Nice and low. And then out to the side. Last one. Woo. Fantastic work. So we're going to finish off just relaxing the bands down. Feet parallel. We're going to take the arms up with a nice inhale. Slowly exhaling down. Repeating. Little bit of a reach. Exhaling down. And then at the end of your exhale here, just have a little check-in with where you are with your posture. Thinking of breastbone aligned over the pubic bone. And then take some nice deep diaphragmatic breaths. We'll just focus on a little longer on our exhale. Well done, guys. Another great class, and I'll see you next time on the mat.